Welcome to Wealth and Wellness. I am your host, Eric Jetson. This podcast is for seekers and lovers of knowledge and designed to supplement your self-development journey. It's for those who want to share knowledge and wisdom and gain insight into how to better their overall well-being. I created this podcast with the intention of sharing my journey to wealth and wellness, hoping to inspire somebody to make changes in their life. If I can add value to somebody else, they can then add value to at least one more person, causing a ripple effect. We will unpack the different aspects of wealth and wellness and get perspectives from experts in their fields so you can start making better choices today. It's time to elevate with Eric Jetson.
I haven't bought a house because I've leveraged my cash in other ways because I see a bigger return over the long term with the cash that I do have for a down payment that I could put towards a house. I haven't, I've leveraged it differently. And so I want to buy a house, but I, at this point, have not pulled the trigger on it because I've seen other opportunities.
Today's guest is a high caliber individual who I look up to for his commitment to investing time into his self-development journey and overall well-being. Christian is a close friend and I admire his eagerness to keep learning. He has a selfless heart and seeks opportunities to make an impact in society and on planet Earth. In the last few months, Christian turned 30 years old, had a long-term relationship end, and is navigating the challenging landscape of launching an organic kids food company. This time of transition has brought him face to face with the feelings of being lost, the fear of uncertainty, and feeling vulnerable. But in times like this, he sees the beautiful opportunity we have to lean into these powerful feelings, to discover who we truly are, and see that everything we need already exists within us. We just have to have the courage to look inward and see what's inside. This is the Wealth and Wellness with Eric Jetson Podcast.
I have the great pleasure of introducing our guest and my great friend, Christian Heaviland. Christian, thank you for coming on the show today. I'm really excited for you to unpack what you mean by looking within.
Yeah, Eric, pleasure to be here. I'm stoked to be able to share with your audience some of the things that I've been working on.
Christian and I go way back. We were roommates and pledge class brothers back at the University of Arizona in Tucson, bear down. We've had a great friendship, great connection. And, he's helped me overcome a lot of things, at that pivotal point in my life, 18 to 22, 23, you're trying to figure everything out. There's a lot of societal pressure. And Christian's a great example of someone that has worked on himself, looked within, and overcome things of his own. And he's a great example. So I'm really excited for him to share. You just have a good mindset when it comes to building wealth. You know what it takes,
Sure.
And, the proper vehicles to get there. And you got a strong work ethic where, as soon as you apply yourself to one or more of those vehicles, it'll turn out the way you want. It's humble beginnings. And, I'm excited to just, document my journey and compile all these great minds into one place that's easily accessible to other people. There's so much information out there in regards to these topics. Yeah. How do you know what's accurate? And if we could just be a guide for those investors, those people that are starting a self-development journey or feel lost on their journey, and don't know where to go. So that's my mission. Crystal showed me this funny meme yesterday. It was like, 20 years ago, this guy's like partying. He's like, not living his best life, not worried about the 3 pills he got from a random guy. And like today you're looking at your like vitamins and you're like, is it safe to take 2?
Our worries have changed. It's 2 parts. It's really like working on myself and then marrying this life of work and marrying life with work, right? And making it all interconnected. My vision for my life was that I don't go to a 9 to 5 and then come home and I have a completely separate life. Mm-hmm. I want my work and my life and my family to all be blended together so that it just like I am living within my full purpose of what I'm doing at all hours of the day.
We grew up in the information age, so we're just like sponges. We've been absorbing all this stuff. You've had great mentors. I mean, your dad is a great example of, entrepreneur, businessman, father, husband, so, and like, you're somebody that, you just have that in your DNA. You've got like holistic success roots, and I know every dynamic's not perfect, but You just want to surround yourself, put yourself in the room with smarter people. That's all.
Exactly.
And yeah, like you said, it's real, it's personal. And, like having a conversation like this for other people to see like that genuine connection that, especially in times where we feel so disconnected to other people.
I guess in a lot of ways, we're never really ready for these life circumstances that come, but in a way, in this divine way, like it comes at the right time when you need to be opened up, cracked open, and time to learn and grow and see what you're actually made of. You see not just the good stuff inside, but the darkness inside that you have to stare at and be like, damn, I got shit I got to work on, and that's the beauty of it. The darkness is the beauty. Like light is great. Light's comfortable. It's the darkness that is uncomfortable, that we don't want to look at, that we avoid. And that's when we have the real opportunity to be like, here's where I'm at today. And little by little, like, I don't know when, I don't know how, but I am going to look inside and I'm going to work on this. And I have faith that I will come out on the other side a better person, a better husband, better friend, son, you name it, right? Whatever circumstance we have.
I just want to supplement people's self-development journey, give them that push, just tell them to keep going, one foot in front of the other. That's all. And I love what you said, because it's all about contrast. Light is great, but we can only experience that light because of darkness. I have enjoyed learning, meeting other people and learning about all kinds of religion. But at the end of the day, having faith in myself and a belief in a higher power that, for me, I believe in God. I believe I was created in his image, with his love. So essentially I am love, and I'm just a spiritual being having a human experience like everybody else. Who am I to judge? What do I need to be afraid of? I've got nothing to be afraid of. And that's helped me personally. Yeah. Like just simplify, because it's very easy for us. Yeah. Young men, we're like climbing the ladder. We're trying to, increase the cash. We're trying to get married, have kids. There's this like societal pressure and stress. And we get wrapped up in the wrong stuff. And that's how people end up 50 and 60 and broken from the inside. They might have a bank account, but nothing brings them joy and nobody likes being around them. And they're just vibrating at a lower frequency. Christian, why don't you dive in a little bit to your journey and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah. So it's funny that you talk about me helping you in those years, because I didn't help myself. I was, I could help other people, but I wasn't helping myself. I didn't have a good relationship with myself, especially after college. I found myself depressed, anxious, drinking a lot, avoiding feelings that I didn't want to feel, pain that I didn't want to feel. And I think eventually I came to this crossroad with myself and with the help of a therapist, that I got to change myself. I got to change this relationship. I was 24, 25 at the time. And it just, I couldn't go on feeling the way I was feeling anymore. And had this realization that my perspective had to change about who I am, where I'm going, what I'm doing. And I could help others. I could give some good advice. I was really good at giving advice, but taking advice, especially from myself, no chance, And so, that moment in time was the step in which I decided, well, I stopped drinking. I got clarity. I started, embodying who I thought I should be, who I wanted to be. And it was baby steps. And, that's, call it about 6 years ago. And I'm still taking baby steps. I feel I've grown, I've changed so much, but I know there's just so much more that I have to learn and continue to grow into. I'm still, it's just infinite. Right. And so, but the growth in the last 6 years has been incredible. And even in the last 6 months, it's been incredible. And it just keeps getting better.
Yeah, it sounds like it just takes a little bit of work in the forefront, to gain those rewards in the end, and maybe you don't see those results after 1 or 2 days, just like working out. You're not going to see those results, those bigger muscles in a week or even 4 weeks, and I heard that, it takes like 12 weeks for someone else to notice a change in you, whether that's behavioral or, appearance wise. What does wealth mean to you?
So I love this question. Let me put it this way. There are a lot of poor people who have millions of dollars in their bank account. Let me say it again. There are a lot of poor men and women in this country and across this globe that have millions of dollars in their bank account. They've got the cars, they've got the houses, they've got the watch, they've got the business, but they're poor. And what I mean by that is, especially in this country, we've been sold this story that wealth, the definition of wealth in the dictionary, is an abundance of money and material things. We've bought this cheap story and we eat it up. But to me, that is the old me bought that story. And it came with a lot of anxiety, came with a lot of self-destruction, a lot of self-criticism. The real definition to me of wealth is being rich in spirituality, being rich in your relationships, your family, and your health. And also, you can add to that financially as well. But financial wealth is just one aspect of kind of this overall picture of wealth. Like, how is it that when you go to another, call it third world country, and you see people and you see their culture, and you see happy people, they have nothing, right? Quote unquote, nothing. In our eyes, they have nothing, but they're full of joy. They're fulfilled. They have a purpose. To me, I can only believe that it's because the pillars of what they believe are important in wealth are spiritual, are your relationships, their family, and their health, right? And financially and materialistically, those things don't make them wealthy, don't make them rich. It doesn't give them a rich life. And so if that's the case for them, it has to be the case for me as well.
That's powerful, man. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We are sold this story, because I looked up the definition of wealth the other day too, and you're absolutely right. The first line, and then if you press, show more, and 3 or 4 down, it says prosperity. Just that word, and that is absolutely, prosperity of the mind, of our soul, and of our body. It's, I believe, in alignment, having that balance and,
Exactly.
That integration. So that's an interesting topic you bring up, sold this story. Do you feel like the American culture post-industrial revolution time has created this narrative, has sold us this dream that is fake?
Absolutely. It's consumerism, it's greed, it's what makes, unfortunately, this country go round. It's the story that you're not enough. How you're not enough? You need this product. You need to look this way. You need to have this house. You need to have this car. The narrative is that we're not enough. That how false is that? It's completely false. We are enough. We have everything within ourselves that we need. Yet we are brought up into this culture that says you're not enough. You don't have everything you need. You need the next iPhone. You need the next job. You need the next whatever. It's so backwards, man. And this is why we have anxiety, depression, and all these mental challenges is because of how our society has woven the fabric for ourselves and what we believe. It's completely made up. It's purely made up based on capitalism, to be honest. It's become evil. It's become so evil. As you go into closer to first world, there is so much more pressure to be someone, to have a certain level of success and status, appear a certain way. That's what I've seen. That's what I've seen. And in certain countries where you have a blend of well, when I say blend, it's very divided. You have a lot of wealth, but then you have extreme poverty right next door, right next to each other on the same road. Quite devastating, honestly. Yeah.
Such an imbalance, such a like polar opposite, it seems like. My wife likes to say the pie is big enough for everybody.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, it starts up here, and it does start from within. And, if you were to give everybody $1 million within a short amount of time, it would end up right back in the same hands as those who had it before.
Yeah.
And, so I want to go back in time a little bit to your upbringing. Who was Christian as a kid, and what was the conversation around wealth and money in your household?
Yeah. So I'm super fortunate. I was taught some really great foundational principles, and that's because I believe it's because my parents, they both didn't come from much. Everything that they have right now was because of what they've created for themselves. The work ethic that my parents had instilled in me has been great. I've been able to take that and put it towards what I've been working on and see results, right? And so the conversations around money specifically were very traditional. Traditional in the way that, it's kind of the millionaire next door model. You pay cash for everything. You don't want any debt. You save. Compound over time, compound interest is a very powerful tool, and you'll become a millionaire and you'll live comfortably, right? And so really great foundational principles. Live within your means. Yeah, and I've seen some of their mistakes, buying 2 houses and then a market crash and having to get rid of one house. And my parents definitely weren't perfect, but they were a really good example for showing me that working hard, saving your money, doing your best to budget, setting goals can yield good results, right? It's actually a pretty simple formula. It's really hard to stick to it. And it's taking little actions, right? You can't expect yourself to just change overnight.
And the cool thing about you is you're a learner. You like to learn. You're a seeker and lover of knowledge, which is the definition of a philosopher.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that. And it sounds like, you grew up with some pretty strong examples, not only to instill that strong work ethic, but also to build a financial foundation and to implement systems and disciplines to get you to a certain outcome.
Yeah.
At the same time, we had the great fortune of being born in the 90s and, growing up in this information age, digital age. And me too, I was taught a strong work ethic as well. That came from my grandfather to my dad. And I was able to, work hard at whatever it was, whatever task, whatever needed to get done. I'm going to, get it done. I'm very solution oriented, but I feel like because of the time period that we grew up, it's almost our calling. It's this gut feeling that I've had inside to shift things, to kind of flip the script and leverage that work ethic that we have and apply it to whatever it is we're going to do, leveraging tools, leveraging technology. I think we're in an age where we need to work smarter, not harder. And, post pandemic, we've seen how important, or it's now becoming a focus, or, like, hey, yeah, we're working way too hard. We're working ourselves to death, and like, we're not focusing on what's important. So
Exactly.
that's really cool. And it sounds like you are leveraging your work ethic to apply it to a different path. It seems like you're carving out your own path. So tell me a little bit about why, you went to college because, for many reasons, but for me, it was because, that was just what I was taught to do. It's like, all right, you go to school, like get a degree. And for me, I was no one had gone to college yet, so I saw an opportunity. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this, especially because I went to Catholic school and stuff. So like college prep, high school. So there was obviously a lot of pressure, colleges coming to school and everyone else was doing it. So I'm like, okay, like I'm going to get into college. I know that I probably have to work pay my way through or do work study or whatever it is, but that's my best chance. That's my ticket to getting, to the next seat at the table. I'm at the kids table and I'm trying to get to the adult table.
College was a privilege here in the United States. And then to expand on that, it was even more of a privilege in the way that my parents could afford for me to go to an out-of-state school. It was kind of, check the box thing, right? Like, I think our parents grew up in this age of the American dream. And they had that American dream for their kids, my sister and I, right? And that was to go to college, get an education and get a job. And so, like you, I did that. But when you're 18, I think you're too young to really understand. Many people are too young to really understand what the benefits are or not of college. We just go and then we have debt and or we don't, but many people do. And does it truly benefit them? And people have to make that decision for themselves. For me, it was a great opportunity to have an experience, learn, grow in my own rights. And but my big takeaway from my undergrad was that it was a good experience and growth, but from an education standpoint, I don't think I was mature enough. And when I graduated and I started digging holes for my dad's business, and my dad was a contractor, started out working in the fields, and that taught me more, right? Working alongside people that had some life experience, that were doing hard work, right? That really taught me more about myself and where I saw opportunity and where I needed to mature. And again, another privilege, working for my dad's business, I was able to go back and get my MBA. Through that time of education and working for my dad, I knew I wasn't passionate in his, in the business, in the industry that my dad's business was in, but I was passionate about helping my dad and my grandfather carry on this legacy that they had started, and getting my dad to a point where he was taken care of, where we could sell the company. And that's what we did. And I knew after that point that my entrepreneurial journey would start. Now I'm on that path. And it's been challenging, but beautiful at the same time. It's everything that I wanted.
We talked about, growing up in an environment where you had good examples of how to allocate your money and, be an investor to create that financial foundation. So give me your thought process around, because you want to be an entrepreneur and you see your life a little bit differently. You don't want that average life, that textbook American dream. So you gotta break down some strategies maybe that you've implemented or plan on implementing regarding building wealth.
Yeah. So I'm glad we're coming back to this, because those foundations that my parents laid regarding money for me were great. Was a great foundation. But like any kid, we take what our parents say and then we like to throw a little twist on it. I'm like, that's really great, and I respect it, And I'm going to use some of what you've taught me, but I'm also going to make it mine. The first is investing in myself through my entrepreneurial journey. Like I have at right now to this date, I don't have a salary. The money that I'm living off is money that I saved. And that money that I take to go to the grocery store is technically investing in myself, right? To get me to the next steps. And so I think regardless of where you're at, whether you work in a company, you're on an entrepreneurial journey, big corporation or not, you have to invest in yourself at every stage. You have to reinvest in yourself. The strategies that I implemented to be able to do that was I made sacrifices. I live really cash poor. I invest every dollar that I can into my different buckets that I have. Living cash poor stretches me, it pushes me. I seek opportunity out, such as an opportunity when I was younger was living at my parents' house. That's a sacrifice, an opportunity and a sacrifice, right? Sacrifice in the way that I wasn't living on my own, I guess you could say. But, you just do things that, I wanted to be independent, but you know what? Saving X amount of dollars per month was more important because I knew over the long term that money would 10x, 20x, 30x, whatever it may be, right? It just was going to be a lot more than spending it on rent, living in my own place. And so for me, it's really about being disciplined, to my parents' credit, living on a budget, living within your means. I mean, you still got to have fun. You still got to enjoy yourself, but that doing those things has enabled me to take some pretty good risk, right? So I think when I look at the buckets of where my money's at, I've got money in crypto, right? That's decent risk. I've got money in equities. That's not performing well today. So I've got crypto, I've got equities. I've got this business that I've been developing over the last year, this organic kids food company that I've been and a partner have been bootstrapping, self-funding this, and so investing in myself that way. And then just invested in this brand new breath work studio concept. So kind of an early stage company. And I mean, ultimately it comes down to discipline and making sacrifices so that when the opportunity arises, I can put my money there. And you know what? Some of these things are risky. You have to take the emotional component out of these investments. They go up, they go down, you lose your money, hopefully not. But on some of these early stage ventures, that's a real thing, but I've put myself in a position to be able to take that risk. That's when you start to see the payoff of I could have bought this car, I could have bought this thing, I could have went on this trip, but now I have the money for this really exciting opportunity. And I'm looking at the opportunity, I'm looking at the risk, I'm looking at the reward, and I'm doing the calculation on that. And wow, yes, there is risk, but there's also a lot of potential for reward, right? And you have to decide what your risk tolerance is for these different avenues to create wealth. But for me, you have to take risk. And calculated risk. You have to be smart. You can't just say, oh, this NFT looks great, I'm going to buy this. It's researched, it's calculated, it's understanding the fundamentals of where your money is going and what the probability is of the return on that investment. So I was really close to buying a town home in 2020. And I'm like, damn, that would have been a great investment. But I look at my other opportunities. That investment, in that townhome would have probably been pretty good. I'd put my money elsewhere. And I think I have to believe that where I've put my money is going to yield much greater returns over the long term than that townhome would have. So, you got to look at your opportunities. You got to understand your tolerance for risk. And then you have to make decisions. You have to make choices, right? Where you're going to put your money and then live with those choices.
So it sounds like it's going to take some planning, a little bit of thought. We gotta, think about what we're going to do. And then would you recommend maybe putting it on paper? I remember, this is something that I took from you back in college, or maybe, a couple years after, but you had sent me a game plan, or like a, kind of a vision for your life. You had typed out an outline as to where you wanted to see yourself in various aspects of your life. And I thought that was so cool, because we don't put enough things to paper, and there is a lot of power to doing that. For so many reasons, it absorbs, in our brain, we process it differently. And now it's also tangible and stuff. It's very easy to type. And, I was typing all my college notes on the iPad, and it's like, man, was I really absorbing any of that knowledge? And then it just gets thrown into this folder or thrown on the iCloud, and I never see it again.
At the end of the day, there's so much out of our control that, yes, you have to work hard to create luck for yourself, to give yourself the opportunity, the chance at luck. But I think that, to your point, right, you can plan, you can prepare, you can know everything there is to know, but you can't control the outcome. So when I invest my money, when I plan, when I prepare, which the old me was very, very diligent in planning and preparing. The difference with the old me and the new me was the old me tried to control the outcome, and that creates a lot of shit inside you that doesn't serve you. The new me releases the outcome. I do everything I can to control what I can control, and then I let go of the expectations of what the outcome may be. It gives you a lot more peace. You gotta come up with a plan and stick to the plan, whatever that may be. Don't go in and out of the plan.
My wife tells me all the time, stick to plan A. And that's usually the gut feeling, so there's something to be said about that. You brought up a really awesome term that I've been hearing more frequently as of lately, but living cash poor. We're bought into save your money, save, hide it under your mattress, put it in this bank account that's earning less than 1%, interest. So silly stuff. It's almost like our educational system conditions us to trade our time for money.
Entrepreneurship is all about sacrifice. If you want to live on your own terms, there's certain things you have to do, and that's the beauty in it, right? That's the challenge of it, the struggle, the kind of, call it the suffering in entrepreneurship. But you get choice, right? You don't have to report to somebody, and you don't have to do something you don't want to do. You just get the opportunity at choice. And so that's the beauty of it, for sure. And that's what's always drawn me to it. And seeing the entrepreneurial journey that my dad had, it wasn't all roses and happy, right? It's ups and downs. It's brutal. It's hard, and now I'm experiencing that, right? And it takes a certain mindset, for sure. For some people who are getting a little more advanced in finance is the other thing. So traditional, save money, have no debt, pay cash for everything. I don't necessarily believe in that either. That the twist on that is, when interest rates are great, other people's money, borrowing, using loans to leverage the cash that you do have in a different way is great. So what I mean by that is, let's say you need to buy a new car. Let's just call it a $40,000 car. Can you get an interest rate, finance the car, get an interest rate that's relatively low, right? 2%, 1.5%, whatever it may be, right? Interest rates are coming up, but can you get a low interest rate right? You're going to put some money down, right? Let's say it's 10 grand. You put 10 grand down. Now you have 30 grand. Can you take that 30 grand and apply it somewhere else and make more money on that 30 grand? Be able to pay for that car, right? And instead of sinking that 40K into that car and have nothing, that 40 is now locked into that car, right? Now it's yours, and you have no debt on it. But could that 30K be making you more money somewhere else, right? So that's a little bit more of an advanced way to, again, OPM, using other people's money.
We have the most investment vehicles available to us than ever before in human history. You know, the barriers to entry have been lowered with, you know, things like Robinhood even, and, you know, Coinbase. It's very easy to buy stocks and crypto. But yeah, I really like that you put the emphasis on calculated risks, getting educated, and, you know, giving it some thought. Don't react based on your emotions. You know, hey, everyone's buying this coin, or hey, I heard about this. It's like, all right, you know, do your own diligence, do your own research, and that's really important. That's awesome, dude. Well, I want to transition here into more of the wellness side of the conversation. And, you know, it sounds like, you got a lot going on, and entrepreneurship is challenging and stressful. And you don't know if things are going to work out. But I love how you remove the emotion from it. You remove the outcome from it, any expectation, and you're looking within. So walk me through some habits you might have or some routines that help you relieve stress and keep yourself in alignment.
So we were talking earlier about this, right? It's about the day. I don't look at the week. I don't look at the month. I don't look at the year. Those, to me, those timelines don't matter. What matters is what happens now, today. And so that's how I break down my week, my month, my year. I just focus on today. And some of the things that I do right now, I'm doing pretty much 2 classes a day. I'll get up at 5. I will go to typically a fitness class. So whether it's F45 or a yoga class in the morning at 6 a.m., I'll do a 6 a.m. class. And then later in the evening, I'm going to do a breathwork class. And at this breathwork studio that I had invested in, Breathe Degrees, shout out Tyler Forbes over there making things happen. We'll do a breathwork class, and then they have a cold plunge, which is incredible, and then a sauna, cold plunge, hot tub, sauna. So this cold and hot contrast. But I mean, I'm doing about 2 classes a day. So it's going to be like a fitness, typically a fitness class, and then I'll do a breathwork class. And then the other things that I do, I fast. I fast because it's the way I like to eat. But typically, I'll have a protein shake around 11, 12 p.m. And then I'll maybe have a snack or 2 in between, and then I'll have dinner. I like to eat dinner 5:30. And my dinner's typically big, and then I'm in bed by 9 and lights out, and then the cycle repeats. But within that day,
I gotta ask real quick, do you do hot and cold stuff in the same day?
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay. So what's the procedure? Does one go before the other? Do you need time in between?
Yeah. Well, so if I'm doing, like, I practice hot yoga. So in the morning, what was it? Wednesday. So yesterday I went to hot yoga in the morning, sweat a bunch, hydrate a lot, pink salt, electrolytes. And then in the afternoon, I went to the breathwork studio. You do a breathwork class, then you hop into the cold plunge. And then you'll hop into the warm. And there's some different cycles you can do with hot and cold, or cold and hot. But typically you want to start it. Here's kind of the recommendation. If it's during the morning or afternoon, I always end on cold. You get a crazy kick of dopamine and neuroepinephrine. Only drugs, certain drugs, and like running from a tiger or your life being on the line, can you get those kinds of kicks that cold water gives you? And so when you come out of that cold water, like you're on cloud nine. And so if you do that in the evening, you're too amped up. For me, I shouldn't say, for me, I'm too amped up, right? So I'll finish on the hot. I'll finish with a sweat in the sauna, right? But otherwise, if it's not in the evening, I'll always finish on cold. But I like to go in the sauna after the cold. I'll heat back up. I'll get that sweat. And then I'll go back into the cold for a minute, cool off, reset my body, and boom, you walk out, you walk out of that door floating.
Feeling like $1 billion bucks.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different protocols online about hot and cold and different time, like how much you should have each how much you should do each week. And I won't get into the specifics of that, but yeah, there's a lot there, and there's a lot of science behind it.
Yeah. I've been asked, and I don't know the answer because, I do like dry saunas, infrared with like light therapy and stuff. So I love that, but yeah, I would say I'm still afraid of the cold, but you have inspired me to embrace that fear, that darkness. We have to have contrast. We can't experience light without experiencing the darkness, which you laid out so eloquently.
Some of the other things that I'm doing, because when I look at wellness, I look at it from 3 pillars. Wellness to me is mind, body, and soul. And so how do I encompass all of that within? I'm meditating every day. Sometimes that's in a yoga class or breathwork class. It's not always at home. I just fit it in where I can. I journal. I try to journal every day. I don't always do, but journaling has been fantastic for me. I talk to my therapist once a week. That's just, even when things are good, it's great to talk to somebody. And then something that I've been really working hard on is my self-talk, the conversations that I'm having with myself, all throughout the day. I mean, at all times of the day, I'm trying to be more aware of how I'm taking care of my mind, body, and soul. So I mean, I implement a lot of different things. I was 24 years old. It hasn't always been like this. It's kind of, you start to implement one thing at a time, right? And to kind of give a little bit more perspective, for a long time, I was just a body guy. I could go and work out. I could go do yoga, but I wasn't taking care of my mind or my soul. I was able to integrate my mind into that picture, right? A lot of people don't work on any of those, right? And a lot of people have one. Very few people are able to integrate 2 or 3 into their life. So one at a time. Body came first. Then I started focusing on my mind. And more recently, in the last 6 months, soul has started to, I've just seen, I didn't realize how important our inner workings are, our true self, our true beings, our soul. I hadn't been taught that. I wasn't aware of it.
What do you mean by that? What is the soul?
The soul is our true being, our true essence. It's the light that's inside us, but also the darkness inside us. It's looking inside ourselves to see what it is that why we're here, what is our purpose, who am I? Our soul knows all of this. We often don't want to look inside because it's scary. There's darkness in our soul. We're not perfect beings. We're imperfect. But we are whole beings. And so when we start to look inside and we start to see the light and see the darkness, and we can take the darkness and actually create something really, really special out of that. And that is, again, understanding who we really are, why we're here, what is our purpose, who am I truly,
That's awesome. You touched earlier a little bit about, the old me and the new me, and,
Yeah.
you've overcome a lot. And do you accept, forgive, and love the old you?
Man, whew, that's a good question. Wow. Powerful, powerful. Yeah, I mean, I do. I do. There's things that I've done in the past that I had a lot of shame about.
Is
I
shame
had
the
a lot of shame.
same? Is that the same as guilt, or do you feel like there's a difference?
There is a difference.
Okay. And you can elaborate in your own
Yeah,
words.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know
Happy
the
to.
difference.
Yeah, yeah. So shame is I am bad.
Okay.
Guilt is I did something bad. When you feel guilt, when you are guilty, I did something bad, but you can typically let it go. It doesn't eat at your soul. Like I'm guilty. I did something bad. I made a mistake. Shame, when we shame ourselves, when we feel shame, I am bad, when we say that to ourselves, that destroys our soul. And so for a long time, I felt a lot of shame. I felt shame in my past relationships. I felt shame about this recent relationship that I just got out of. Um, about things that I said, did in the past. I beat myself up. Shame, you beat yourself up about. I'm bad, and that doesn't heal you. It hurts you. And so, to your point, what the old me shamed me. And I still like shame will still come. Shame doesn't always go away, but I am aware of shame and how degrading it is to myself and how I feel. And so now the new me is aware of shame, so I have to be careful of it. But the difference is I can recognize that what I did or said or the thing that I'm feeling shame about, I can recognize it and for again, yeah, it's self-compassion, it's self-love. Forgive myself for the mistakes that I have made. Because if I don't do that, I cannot be at peace with myself. I am at war. My heart and my mind and my soul are at war when I feel shame. But when I forgive myself and I love myself and I have myself back, I can let these things, these mistakes go. And then I have the opportunity to learn and change moving forward.
Do you feel like some people don't want to change or don't want to improve their life?
Oh my gosh, I see it all the time. All the time. Why would anybody want to change their life? It's comfortable. Change is uncomfortable. There are a lot of people that are okay with how their life is. There are a lot of people who are not okay with how their life is, but they don't want to change because it is uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. We have to get familiar with uncomfortability. That's what this breathwork studio, when there's the cold plunge, I go in it every single day, 40-degree water. It is uncomfortable. It is painful. It is not fun. Your body thinks you're going to die. But through that pain, through that suffering, that uncomfortable feeling of I just want to get out, when you get past that and you actually feel inside you, when you overcome this growth inside you, it's the most powerful feeling. And so I think, again, it's extremely uncomfortable. There's things that I don't want to do all the time, but I know that on the other side of that uncomfortable feeling, there is something beautiful for me. And so, yes, a lot of people and that's the beautiful thing. It just requires action, not a lot of action, just action. Right. And so, but that creates a great opportunity. If you're feeling like you're a person that is average, below average, you want to set yourself apart from anybody else. And comparison to other people is terrible. So I'm not even going to go down that route. But if you want to feel different and better about yourself, just take a step. Take one little step. Go into that cold water. for 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Doesn't have to be 3 minutes on your first time. It's uncomfortable, but you start to gain confidence in yourself. And that to me is the beauty of life. It's uncomfortable. Life is uncomfortable. So we can avoid it and we can stay how we are, but that ain't for me. And I know it's not for you.
No, and I got 2 questions here. Remind me because I'll forget. But the first one is, do you feel that it's bad? Some people maybe make us feel guilty for wanting more, for going against the grain and carving our own path, and being that outsider. So is that, is it bad? And do you feel like maybe things are changing and America, is going back to what it was, originally as the land of entrepreneurship and capitalism?
Of course, there's people out there that all that is insecurity. That's insecurity being projected onto you from that person, whoever doesn't want you to shoot for the stars, right? It's insecurity from that. It's a fear that they have that they can't shoot for the stars because they're scared themselves. They don't want you to get hurt. They don't want you to succeed, but it's their fear for themselves. It's not yours. There's a lot of people out there like that. Of course, there's parents like that. There's friends like that. There's colleagues like that. They're all over the place, and it's normal. That's a normal human thing. But our society has to have a greater awareness that this life is abundant, and when we have this abundant mindset, like, go for your dreams. Like, what's the worst that could happen? You could fail. Okay, so what?
Right.
I'm still going to be your friend. I'm still going to be your peer. It's like supporting people in that way. When we all lift each other up, right? It just elevates everything. It's powerful. Amen. And we're all we're trying to pull each other down. It's terrible. It's sad.
It is.
It's out of ego and insecurity.
Yeah. And it's like the way when we're an employee in the work environment, it's very competitive. Yeah. And, I think we've grew up, I grew up in a sports family, playing sports, watching sports, I'm middle of 5 kids. So lots of, competitions and activities, games all the time, so I'm very competitive in nature, or by nature, but I feel like creating that environment of high competition within the workplace has conditioned us to, project our insecurities and not want that person to succeed, because I want that promotion. Only one person can get it. And both of us are, competing for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, like it's all kind of backwards. Do you feel like society in America, for example, not only with the educational system, but, with the internet boom and how everyone is driving you, to the internet, and they want your attention, they're essentially harvesting your data, which everything you look at, it's benefiting somebody. So do you feel like that is all by design and they want us to be out of tune with aligning our mind, body, and soul?
Yeah, absolutely. They want to suck your soul. They want to take it away from you. It just makes sense. When we are soulless, moralless, valueless, when we're broken down, like, you're going to listen to anything that I say and you will do anything that I say. You just look back at human existence. Nothing's changed. The channels and the vehicles in which power, the people in power take your soul are different today than they were 2,000 years ago, but it's no different. It's the same. We're still, we have that same mind, that same human instinct. And so, yeah, of course, it's by design. It's by design so that the people in power can stay in power.
This has been an amazing conversation. And, I really think our listeners are going to gain a lot of value. And, if they just take one or two things, and I think, something that you mentioned is taking those baby steps. And what is some way, maybe it's a cold shower, getting in the ice cold shower for 3 seconds or 3 minutes or something. What's an easy, cost effective way for somebody at home to start with that alignment and get them going?
You want something really easy?
Yeah.
Not easy for some people, but this is really easy. You make your bed every day. Every morning you get up, you make your bed. Maybe that's too easy. So if you're already making your bed every morning, take a cold shower. That's hard.
It is hard.
It's hard.
So easy. It's so easy to put it warm,
So easy. Yeah. This is where self-compassion, self-love comes in. You set out to do it for 30 seconds and you only did 10 seconds. So what? You took a step. That's all that matters, right?
That is.
Take the step, let go of the expectations of the outcome. Just do it, right? And so, cold water has been one of my most influential mentors. Cold water.
I love that. Yeah, it's definitely becoming, more mainstream. It's been around forever. I mean, it's ancient. It's so silly. It's so basic. It's just like, you put something under tension and it grows. I mean, look at so many things that grow on planet Earth. They face adversity and struggle, to get up here, and all this climate, they're getting beat down, but then boom, you got beautiful roses, beautiful grapes.
Exactly. I mean that seriously. Like these cold, 40-degree water has been the best teacher. I've learned more about myself in cold water than anything else. It's incredible. My father has been a mentor to me, but I don't have one mentor. I always had this, I need to find a mentor. I need to find somebody who can guide me in this and that. No, what I've done is in these different areas of business and my spiritual journey, my communities, I'm surrounding myself with people. And there's typically 1 or 2 people in those different communities that I look up to, that I look at as mentorship. And so I don't have, again, one mentor. There's a lot of different people in different areas of my life that I go to, that I look to, and that I can have conversations with about things in the different areas of life. And so I think it's important not to look for one person to be your mentor. You need many people. You need many people in your corner. And how do you do that? You have to pour into them. You have to invest into them. No one is going to invest in you until you invest in them and you show that you are invested. When you keep pouring into that relationship and you come around and you're like, damn, it's my time. I'm hurting. I need some advice. I need some guidance. Guess what? They give you the world because you've invested in them. You showed them your commitment to them, your loyalty to them. And that's super important, I think, is you don't have to define. Look, I think we think of mentors as this guru, but really mentors can be just people in our lives, in different areas of our lives, that just provide that support that we're needing. And I have a lot of different mentors.
That's awesome. Have you utilized, social media or YouTube or anything, leverage these, platforms to gain insight?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm really cautious about social media and following people. For a long time, I followed a lot of different people in the space, but financially speaking, I think there's a lot of bad information out there. There's a lot of gurus out there selling you a bunch of bullshit that you want to, that leads you down a dark path, to be honest. And so from a financial perspective, I can't really think of anybody that I follow too closely, because they have an agenda. Let's just keep it at that. There's an agenda. From a health wellness perspective, there's a lot of different people I follow. I want to mention Andrew Huberman Lab. at Huberman Lab, Huberman Lab. On Instagram. He's a Stanford professor, neuroscience, incredible research and data that he's putting out right now. So from a health and wellness standpoint, I think there's much more quality content out there. Your audience can check out Breathe Degrees, at Breathe Degrees. And there's some interesting stuff on breath work and cold and hot therapy and how that can completely reset you. And so, yeah, I mean, again, I'm very careful on the financial side of things. I think there's just on social media, it's, to me, gets, you can start following the wrong people. Health and wellness, I'm sure there's the same stuff, but to me, I think there's a lot more quality there.
I just want to wrap up with, where you're at now and what your vision is for your future.
I've been doing a lot of thinking about this lately. And the first is continuing to create this sacred union with myself. Because for a long time, I was detached from myself. I was very critical. I was hard on myself. I didn't listen to myself. I just beat myself up. And so what I've done now is I'm loving myself. I'm on this self-compassion journey. I've created this union, this holy union with myself, because that's all we have in this life. At the end of the day, we have ourselves. And yes, we can have outer things like friends, family, and material things, but at the end of the day, when you strip everything away, it is just us. And so I have to continue to work on myself, work on this union with myself, so I can be the father, the husband, the son, the person that I want to be, as those milestones come, right? And the second thing that I'm focused on is really marrying this work, my life's purpose and work with my life, right? And creating this again union. It's not like my work is one thing and then I have this other life over here. I want it all encompassed together, fully integrated, fully interconnected, because to me, each day when I wake up, I don't want there to be separation between my life. I want it all whole and together. And the last thing is shining more love and light into this world, into other people. Like that is so important to me. It's fun to think about change, going out and trying to change millions of lives. But if I can shine light into one person, give one person love today, now, because the present is all that matters, then I have done my job today. I have lived a good life in this day, right? And that's the vision for the future, but the future is here now, today. And so I'm on this path, and I'm super excited.
So give me a quick update on the organic kids food.
Yeah, so that's been in development for a little over a year now. We're going to be, the brand is called With Pixie. We haven't fully rolled it out yet because website is not fully done. But yeah, brand is called With Pixie. We're selling organic vegetable powders to parents with young kids who don't eat vegetables or don't like vegetables. And so this vegetable powder simply adds to the foods that your child's already eating, mixes into macaroni and cheese and smoothies. You can put it between peanut butter and jelly, put it in mashed potatoes, put it on pizza, right? You name it, applesauce. It can mix in there, and essentially, your child will consume the vegetables that they otherwise aren't getting on a daily basis. So yeah, it's been good. We're excited. We're getting close to launch here, and we'll see where it goes.
Well, I'm really excited because I'm a father of two. Dean loves his vegetables, but Layla likes to pick out all the carbs from the vegetables, and so I take her plate and it's all green. I'm like, you can't be my kid. There's no way. And at restaurants, I mean, the options on the kids menu, it's always burger, fries, quesadilla, fries, chicken tenders, fries, mac and cheese. So, and like restaurants don't have like kid friendly salads. If I had a restaurant, I would do it differently, but I don't want to run a restaurant. Cool, brother. Well, hey, I value your time and your friendship so much. You have, you've helped me in ways that you probably don't understand, but the little things like in college, you were so in tune with your body. And I thought that was really important, and you were, strength building, you were, stretching. I never saw anyone stretch in college except you. And I love stretching, and I know the importance of it, and even though you lift heavy weights and stuff, you'd go home and eat like some raw vegetables, like some carrots and stuff. And I'm like, wait, like, what's he doing? But I value those little moments. They shed some light and help me on my wellness journey. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thanks for having me, Eric, man. It's been fun chatting about this. All right. Love you, brother. Thank you.
Man. Love you too.
You can find Christian on Instagram, link in the description. Please like this podcast, share on your feed, and check out the link in the description for free educational resources or for business inquiries. This is the Wealth and Wellness with Eric Jetson Podcast. It's time to activate and elevate. Your journey continues.